Hello friends, I am Divya and I am presenting another chapter from Science and Technology, which is Biotechnology. So before I begin, I would like to request you to subscribe Vysh's channel. Please subscribe Vysh's channel and then like these videos, share these videos as much as you can, because if the support only will be good, you will be getting these lecture freely. Okay, otherwise this will be made into paid courses. Okay, so the prelims are nearing and so many series have started, so please watch all those series also, right? So let's move ahead. And before I start, there was one question in the previous video which was based on AI and blockchain and cryptocurrency. So there was a question which appeared in 2020 prelims. It was based on blockchain. So I overlooked some of the options. The actually answer was D, but I told it is B. Okay, so it was pointed out by Aarti Bhasi. So thank you Aarti Bhasi for pointing that out, right? Let's move on. We'll start with biotechnology. So this was the question which appeared in 2020 prelims. Okay, so here question was, consider the following statements. Options were: the genetic changes can be introduced in the cells that produce eggs or sperm of a prospective parent. Then a person's genome can be edited before birth at the early embryonic stage. And then third was, human induced pluripotent stem cells can be injected into the embryo of a pig. Okay, so answer was D. All of the above were correct, right? 1, 2, 3. Next question. See, this is regarding pro-nuclear transfer. So I have explained this technology, pro-nuclear transfer, in detail in the coming slides, right? So the question is, in the context of recent advancements in human reproductive technology, that is pro-nuclear transfer, it is used for what? So options were: fertilization of egg in vitro by donor sperm, then genetic modification of sperm producing cells, then development of stem cells into functional embryos, and the last one was prevention of mitochondrial diseases in offspring. And the answer was D, that is my prevention of mitochondrial diseases in offspring, right? So we'll start biotechnology. What is biotechnology? Biotechnology deals with the techniques of using living organisms or enzymes to manufacture products or technology intended to improve the quality of human life, right? And then it provides breakthrough products and technologies to combat diseases, feed the hungry, use less and cleaner energy, and have safer and cleaner and more efficient industrial manufacturing processes, right? So there are various techniques involved, okay, there which are deployed in biotechnology. These are genetic engineering or recombinant DNA technology or rDNA technology. So this is very important. I have explained also. I am going to explain also these this rDNA technology, right? Then hybridism technology, cell and tissue culture, and then protoplasm fusion, right? So we have National Biotechnology Development Strategy 2015 to 2020. So its aim is to bring significant improvements and advancements in the healthcare, food and nutrition and clean energy, and also education backed with significant investments, right? Then to create in creating enabling infrastructure for R&D and commercialization of biotech products, okay, and then creating a life science and biotechnology education council, okay. So these are the objectives of National Biotechnology Development Strategy, okay. Then we have National Biopharma Mission, okay. So all these mission and all these strategies are to develop our biopharma sector, okay. So its mission is to make crops more productive and tolerant of pests and insects. Example is BT brinjal. Then we have GM crops, so food with enhanced nutrition, okay, like golden rice, okay, with the additional vitamin A. So this process, of additional nutrition, when it is incorporated, that is called biofortification, which I will be explaining now. Okay, so GM crops, they have enhanced nutrition. So example is golden rice, it has additional vitamin A. It is from the International Rice and Rice Research Institute. Then it helps farmer to adopt no-till practices. No-till practices means, suppose this is, wait, it is here soil, okay. So in soil, what happens to, or in order to prevent soil erosion, farmers are encouraged to not to dig the soil, okay. They have to do the farming in a way that they don't have to dig the soil, so that erosion can be prevented. So that process, okay, that such practices are called no-till practices, okay. And then and it decreases the fertilizers usage also. Then it is I mean, one of the objective also is to treat diseases and like SARS, MERS, Zika virus, okay, by developing vaccines and medicines, right. And then biofuels, okay, example is a jatropha, okay. So bioethanol, biodiesels, these are used. And then these fuels are derived from microbes or animal waste, living organisms such as plants and their byproducts, okay. And then advancements in drugs, so cost advantage in the manufacture of drugs. And then biofortification is nothing but it is a process in which the nutritional quality of the crop is improved, right. Here nutrition, vitamin A is also incorporated into the golden rice. So that is done by how? By agronomic practices, right. Then here bioethanol plant is there, okay. So this is used as biofuel. Then we have jatropha leaves, okay, it is also used as biofuel. And in 2018 it was in current affairs, right, because it was used as biofuel. And once spice jet flight, that was fueled by jatropha leaves, okay. And then microalgae, here we can see microalgae, it is also used as biofuel, okay. Then see, this is golden rice which we are talking about, it has vitamin A, additional vitamin A. Then these are vaccines, okay. So these are some familiar examples of the uses of biotechnology around us, right. Then animal biotechnology. So animal biotechnology, in this it is used to improve the productivity of livestock and also for the development of vaccines and diagnostics against many prevailing animal diseases, okay, like coronavirus and all, so many other zoonotic diseases. And then bioremediation, okay. So bioremediation is defined as reclamation of environment, okay. Remember this, reclamation of environment through the application of biotic agents like microorganisms. And it is one of the bioremediation is waste management technique, okay, in which microorganisms or plants or some biological enzymes are employed, right. So when microorganisms are employed, examples bacteria and fungi are employed for bioremediation. And then plants, when plants are employed, then it is called phytoremediation, okay, because of the plants. Then biological enzymes are also used, they are used to consume and break down environmental pollutants, right. And then stem cell therapy, this is very important, and I have in the coming slides I will be explaining this in detail also. We will just see the definition here. It is also known as regenerative medicine, which promotes the reparative response of diseased, dysfunctional or injured tissue, okay. Then I was talking about biofuel. So biofuel from microorganisms. So the researchers at International Center for Genetic Energy and Biotechnology, that is ICGEB, they have developed a method to improve the growth rate and sugar content of a marine microorganism called Cyanococcus, okay. So this Cyanococcus, this can be used as biofuel. So in order to improve its yield, okay, or in order to improve its growth rate and sugar content, the scientists have developed a method. Okay, they have come up with the method so that it can be used as biofuel, right? Moving ahead, then we have Department of Biotechnology, which was established in 1986 and under the Ministry Science and Technology to promote development of the field of modern biology and biotechnology in the country. Several R&D projects, infrastructural development were directly or indirectly based on this field. Means these were accomplished by Department of Biotechnology. Then the department has significantly contributed to the growth of biotechnology in the country, right? Then when we are studying biotechnology, we have to know about RNA, DNA, because everything is based on that, right? I am going to explain in much details so that we never get confused, because in prelims these just tough questions are coming, not one liners or easy questions are not coming these days. So we are getting very tough questions, so those tough questions only make the edge, right? So in order to clear the cutoff, to we need to learn this, right? So RNA, ribonucleic acid. RNA converts the genetic information within DNA to a format used to build proteins and then moves it to ribosomal protein factories. Okay, so one thing you have to remember is first there is DNA. Okay, and from DNA it becomes RNA. So there is RNA, right? There is first of all DNA, which gets converted to RNA, and from RNA it gets converted to protein. Okay, this sequence has to be remembered in this way. Okay, from DNA to RNA, then RNA to protein. Okay, so what happens is RNA converts the genetic information within DNA to a format that is used to build proteins. Okay, and then it moves it to ribosomal protein factories. Okay, then what happens is in DNA what it does is it replicates. Okay, it replicates and it stores the genetic information. Okay, and DNA is called it's called the blueprint for all the genetic information which is contained in an organism, and it is a hereditary material. Hereditary material means something that has been carried from, that we got from the parents. Okay, so hereditary material in human and almost all other organism. Getting? Then RNA has only one strand, so RNA will be like this. But like DNA, it is made up of nucleotides. What these nucleotides are, we'll study later. Okay, then DNA consists of two strands like this. Okay, there will be two strands for DNA like this, and RNA will be like this. So RNA, it contains ribose sugar molecule. RNA contains ribose sugar molecules without hydroxyl modifications of deoxyribose. The sugar in DNA, deoxyribose, which contains one less hydroxyl group than RNA ribose. And then RNA shares adenine, guanine, cytosine, okay, within DNA, but RNA contains uracil, not thymine, whereas DNA has adenine, guanine, cytosine and thymine, but not uracil. So all these things I will be explaining you in detail. Okay, don't worry. Then RNA forms in the nucleolus and then move to specialized regions of the cytoplasm depending on the type of RNA. So RNA has so many types. Okay, example tRNA, okay, tRNA, mRNA, etc. There are so many other RNAs. Okay, DNA, it is found in nucleus. Okay, it is found in nucleus with a small amount of DNA also present in mitochondria. Remember this. Okay, and then RNA is more resistant to damage from UV light than DNA, and DNA is more vulnerable to damage by UV light, right? So till now we have seen what are the properties. Now we will see how the structure of these two DNA and RNA are, how these are arranged, so that we can never forget it, never get confused also. Okay, any question based on this, if it will come, you should be able to answer it properly. For that I'll be explaining you. Okay, so without getting into the chemistry, we have to remember these names only. Okay, phosphate, and then we have one another unit is deoxyribose sugar. Okay, this 5 carbon sugar, and then this is the base, this is called nitrogenous base, sometimes it called nucleoside also. Okay, there are so many names. What are the differences, that will also I will explain. Okay, so here they have shown one deoxyribose. Okay, and then the nitrogen bases. Okay, so nitrogen bases are cytosine, thymine in case of DNA, and uracil in case of RNA, and then adenine and guanine. Okay, till now you remember this. Now we will see how these are arranged. So imagine this as one strand of DNA. Okay, or RNA also. Wait, yeah, so imagine it as one strand of DNA. It has thymine. Okay, here it is cytosine, and here it is guanine. So this one, till now we see this one individually. Okay, with one phosphate group, one ribose sugar, and then one nitrogenous base. But now we are seeing how they are connected to make a strand. So these two sugars, they are connected here. Okay, this is making, this unit is called sugar phosphate base. Here there we have sugar and then phosphate base, and here we have our nitrogenous base. Okay, so in the continuation you will be getting the strand of DNA. Now we will see double strand, how double strand is forming. Here again it is the nitrogenous base, then we have our ribose sugar, and then we have our phosphate group, and here it is forming sugar phosphate base. Okay, all backbone. So these two are connected. Till now we have seen, okay, nucleoside base, all this, but now it is connected to the another strand here. Okay, this is making the another strand, thymine with adenine, guanine with cytosine. Always remember, it will be always adenine with thymine or uracil in case of RNA. Okay, remember this. Then cytosine with guanine. Okay, never guanine will pair with thymine or guanine will pair with adenine. Similarly, adenine will never pair with cytosine or guanine. Okay, moving on. So now we have seen how these double strands are arranged. Here they have, since they said DNA has double helical structures. Okay, double helix it is arranged. So how, in what fashion it is arranged, that is been shown here. Okay, so again we are seeing adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine, again thymine and adenine. So this has to be, since it is double stranded, so it has to be DNA, and it has thymine also. Okay, and one more thing to remember is, one more thing which you have to remember is, see, whenever here it will be 3 dash, so it has to be here 5 dash. Whenever here it is 5 dash, it will be 3 dash here. Never ever it will be like 5 dash and then 5 dash, or 3 dash or 3 dash. Here also if it is 5 dash, it has to be 3 dash. No 5 dash to 5 dash or 3 dash 3 dash. Okay, so this you have to remember. So here they have elegantly shown how those two strands are, those two strands are arranged of the DNA, right? This is the template. Okay, and then sugar phosphate base, we have nucleosides which are connected with the another strand, and here these two are connected with the hydrogen bonds. Okay, this bond is called hydrogen bond. Okay, that's it. Then here, so this diagram clearly shows what are the distinctions between RNA and DNA. First of all, DNA. Why? Because deoxy. Okay, one oxygen is less. That's why deoxy. And deoxyribonucleic acid, and it is simply ribonucleic acid. Okay, and I have told RNA is single stranded. Okay, it has single strand. and then DNA is double stranded, arranged in double helix. Okay, and then what is there? Deoxyribose. For why I said one oxygen won't be there, so that oxygen is here in the RNA, and that oxygen is the same oxygen is missing here, okay, in the DNA. And one more distinction was uracil, presence of uracil in RNA and presence of thymine in DNA, right? And then rest is the same: cytosine, guanine, adenine. Okay, so sometimes we get different names like nucleoside, nucleotide, nitrogen bases and all, so it can confuse us. So remember this template. Okay, so remember it like this. Take a screenshot, keep it with you, remember it, okay, properly. There will be a nitrogenous base. So these nitrogen bases are adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine, and in case of RNA, uracil also. Without the thymine, uracil, right? Then 5 carbon sugar or ribose sugar, then phosphate group. Okay, so remember nucleo. When it is called nucleoside, when will it be called nucleoside? When this sugar will be there and along with that this nitrogen base will be there. Okay, that will be called nucleoside. And it will be called nucleotide when along with the nucleoside, right? Nucleoside means sugar and base, and with that this phosphate group will be present. So basically this is a nucleotide, remember. So this is it for the RNA, and this much is too much for prelims. Okay, when it comes to DNA, RNA structure and everything. Okay, this should be enough. Let's move on. We have to know what are genes, chromosomes and DNA. Here how these are, we have seen till now how DNA is arranged, but in a cell how it is present, if it is so long, how it is present, that we have to see. So first we have to remember there will be a cell, and cell has nucleus, and then nucleus has chromosomes. Here it is shown there is a chromosome. Chromosome will be like this, and around that we are seeing something is wound. Okay, something is been like this winded right here, like this. Okay, so if we see it further, this is called DNA. This is DNA which has been wrapped around histone. Okay, this is called histone. This body is called histone. Okay, this body is histone. Around this our DNA has been wrapped, and if we see further, this is our DNA. Okay, and one section of DNA, one part of DNA is called gene. Okay, so gene is a segment of DNA. Fine. We'll see the definition. Gene is a hereditary unit of living organisms, right? Hereditary, I have told, something that has come from the parents, that has been inherited. Okay, it is a small segment of DNA located on chromosome. Okay, and which codes for a protein. I have told first DNA, then RNA, and then protein. Okay, so it is a code for protein. So this protein has some specific function in the organism. What are those functions? For example, how intelligent you will be, those are some traits. Okay, how intelligent you will be, how tall you will be, whether you will be tall or short, whether you will be what your personality will be, how different you will be from others. So that all those traits are coded by genes only. Okay, so gene has that code. Okay, because of that proteins are synthesized, and thus those genes get expressed. Okay, and then they show it as your traits. Okay, it can be your physical traits also, it can be other traits also which cannot be seen, right? Then genetic engineering. So we have learned about genes and chromosomes. Now we will see how to manipulate those. Okay, how to manipulate those, that is our genetic engineering. So first we have to know what is genome. Genome is nothing but the set of genes. How many genes are there? The whole set will be called genome, right? So genetic engineering is a technique of manipulating the organism's genome with the help of biotechnology to add one or more traits. Okay, traits I have already told. So one or more traits that were not actually that were not present naturally, okay, which the traits which were not present naturally with an organism, inside an organism, are now introduced using genetic engineering, right? So this process takes a number of steps. The first of which is constitution of DNA fragment from nucleic acid molecules in a test tube. Then DNA so made is inserted into a vector. This vector could be a virus or some other suitable organism that can serve as a molecular ferry to carry it to the host organism. The inserted DNA molecule expresses itself and also multiplies. What are the techniques involved? Techniques are isolation of genes, synthesis of genes, and then rDNA technology, that is recombinant DNA, and then gene cloning, etc. So we'll see this in with the proper picture, so that you will remember it properly. It's not, we don't have to mug up anything, okay? See, rDNA technology. Here we have our human cell, and cell has nucleus, and nucleus has DNA, okay, and the gene is one part of DNA. So from this DNA one part has been taken, and this gene supposed to secrete insulin, okay. So this gene is responsible for secretion of insulin, so that has been taken off because we need to produce insulin, right? So we will cut it off, okay, we'll take this off. Then in some plasmid, okay, in some plasmid we will add our gene, okay. In this insulin gene has been added, and this will be called vector, okay. Vector I have already in the previous slide we told it can be a it can be any virus or it can be any other suitable organism which will add as a ferry molecule, okay. It will to carry out, okay, to ferry it will be used. So here it has been, this plasmid has with the DNA, recombinant DNA has been added to the transgenic bacterium. Why it is called transgenic? Because this gene has come from other species, that's why transgenic bacterium. It has with the, it is with the plasmid that contain insulin gene, and then it is multiplied, okay. Then our recombinant bacteria, it gains the ability to secrete insulin. So finally we needed insulin, so we needed something that could secrete insulin, and that's how we get it, right? So this is rDNA technology. This is very important. Please remember this. If you don't get it, rewind the video and watch it again. It is very easy to understand, but it is very important also, okay. All these gene therapy and all are done by, are achieved by rDNA technology only, right? So recombinant DNA, it is a method deployed to introduce foreign DNA. We have seen, right? We introduced insulin gene, that was foreign DNA. It is a segment, okay, into the host species. And rDNA, recombinant DNA, represents a DNA from a foreign source, right? And then applications of rDNA technology. So these days Western pharmacy, every biological technology, doctor's office, veterinarian's office, medical technology testing laboratory, biological research laboratory is using this technology. It has gained so much popularity, right, because of its applications. So the products of rDNA technology, what all we have achieved till now with rDNA technology. So recombinant human insulin that we have seen just now. Then we have also been able to get recombinant human growth hormone. Then recombinant blood clotting factor 8. Then recombinant hepatitis B vaccine. And then we came across this golden rice earlier, okay. And herbicide and insect resistant crops, okay. Then we have GMO. It is also one of the applications of rDNA technology only, okay. By rDNA technology we are able to achieve this, okay. So GMO, or genetically engineered organism, GEO, is an organism with altered genetic material due to the application of rDNA or genetic engineering techniques, okay. So the first modified crop was in 1982. It was an antibiotic resistant tobacco plant. And then flowers are tomato. I hope this pronunciation is correct. So flowers are tomato. It was the first commercially grown genetically modified food that was granted a license for human consumption. Okay, its aim was to slow the process of ripening in the tomato, right? Then we came across golden rice. Okay, so it is fortified with vitamin A, okay, which prevents the night blindness. Then we have GM cotton, GM mustard, BT crops. Okay, BT crops means BT is Bacillus thuringiensis. It's the name of a bacteria, right, which is used. So Bacillus thuringiensis means BT crops. Then BT brinjal. BT brinjal is insect resistant brinjal. And then BT cotton. BT cotton sale has been banned by Maharashtra government. Okay, Maharashtra state government has banned the sale of BT cotton. And BT brinjal I think still is used. Okay, still is in use. And then please check it, okay, if it is used or not, if it still is in use or not. So what are the benefits and concerns with GM crops? Okay, so first of all, it is cost beneficial. Okay, so many farmers are satisfied with GM crops because they are less labor intensive. Then it is better resistant. It is tolerant to harsh climatic conditions like salinity, heat, drought. Then it is improving yield. Okay, so improved yield because of this. So improved resistance against plant diseases, it is which is caused by insects or virus. Okay, or through or through increased tolerance towards the herbicides, right? And then it ensures food security for growing population, and then reduced usage of pesticides and herbicides. So these are the benefits of GM crops. Okay, now we will see what are the concerns or issues. It is unsafe for the consumption. Okay, due to genetic changes which makes it unsafe for consumption. It can have adverse impacts. Okay, it can have side effects, so that is called adverse impacts, okay, on human health or animal health or the soil of the neighboring crops. Then there was a case of pesticide poisoning in Maharashtra. 60 laborers and farmers died due to the inhalation of pesticides which were attributed to the GM seeds. So indiscriminate use of glyphosate can cause health hazards to animals and cattle, apart from affecting the yield also, right? Apart from affecting the yield of cotton, it can be harmful or hazardous for the human and cattle, right? And then monopolizing market. See, this GM seeds, no, they use terminator technology. Okay, meaning they have been genetically modified so that the resulting crop do not produce viable seeds of their own. So if they start producing their own seeds, so farmers will use these seeds only next time. They won't buy the seeds, right? So in order to avoid that, the manufacturers, what they do is they make the seeds such they use this terminator technology so that the seed which is produced cannot be used for planting. Okay, cannot be used for farming again. Okay, here. So transgenesis, organisms that have inserted DNA, okay, that on organism into which the DNA has been, foreign DNA has been inserted, okay, that originated from different species. That's why transgenesis. We have seen transgenic bacteria some time ago, some slides ago we have seen. Okay, so transgenesis is the process in which exogenous gene is introduced called a transgene into a living organisms. And we have transgenic microbes, we have transgenic animals, we have transgenic plants, right? And then Monsanto. See, we were talking about a terminator gene, okay, and terminator seeds. So remember this. Monsanto, it's an American multinational agriculture biotechnology corporation. Okay, so it is the leading producer of herbicide glyphosate. So this was responsible for the death of many farmers, right? And genetically engineered seeds. So this company produces herbicide glyphosate and genetically engineered seed also, right? So it has monopoly over this market. Okay, and how they have? Because they use terminator gene and terminator seeds. So these are called suicide seeds. Okay, this terminator, they alters the expression of certain genes in the plant, thus they terminate their reproductive switch, so about the embryo, and make them sterile. Okay, so these seeds are sterile and those seeds do not germinate at all. Okay, they will not germinate, thus the second generation seeds remain sterile. So so that they can buy, the farmers have to buy again new seeds, okay, from these companies. Then Mako, Maharashtra Hybrid Corporation. This we saw BT cotton was banned by Maharashtra government. So that BT cotton was actually manufactured by Mako only. Okay. Then we have FSSAI, Food and Safety Standards Authority. So its task is to regulate GMO levels in the imported consumables. Means among the consumer goods which are imported, consumables means some edible things that we eat, okay, though in those consumables which are imported, that has to be seen by, and how much GMO levels in that is checked by FSSAI. Earlier, when initially it was done by Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, okay, GEAC, which came under Environment Ministry, but later FSSAI took over the approval of imported goods. Okay, now FSSAI sees all that, okay, imported consumables. Then see, this question came in 2020 prelims, okay, pro-nuclear transfer or mitochondrial gene therapy. Remember mitochondria therapy? So we will see this since it has already appeared in 2020 exam. So 3 parents baby, this technique is also called 3 parents baby because the baby has DNA of 3 parents. How we will see now. So baby is conceived using the genetic material from 3 people in which mitochondrial DNA, okay, from a female is used to replace faulty material, mitochondria, and thus preventing the inherited diseases. Okay, so in order to prevent disease we use 3 parents DNA, okay, and we right. So what is mitochondria, if you ask? I hope most of the people knows it, but still those who don't know, mitochondria is nothing but it's a cell organelle, okay, it's a part of a cell, one of the components of cell. In this mitochondria, energy is produced, okay, so that is the significance of mitochondria. So when someone has faulty mitochondria, that is replaced, okay, replaced with the healthy mitochondria. Okay, how we will see now, right? So doctor replace eggs, okay, that is unhealthy eggs, defective mitochondrial DNA, and thus preventing the child from suffering the debilitating conditions such as muscular dystrophy. Okay, so this is the process. Here we have parent, okay, means mother. So her egg, it has been fertilized, but it has unhealthy mitochondria. Okay, what we need is, we don't need this unhealthy mitochondria, but we need her DNA, we need her nucleus, but we don't need the mitochondria, right? And then there is donor, okay, donor female, which her egg has been fertilized artificially by the same father, same male, okay, it has been artificially fertilized, right? So her mitochondria is healthy, but we don't need her nucleus because nucleus has DNA, and mitochondria, I told also, DNA is present in small amounts in mitochondria also, right? So we have healthy mitochondria here, so some part of DNA will be there, okay. So her nucleus has been removed because we don't need that. We need mother's nucleus because we need mother's DNA. We need mother's nucleus here, that we will take out from this unhealthy cell, and from this donor we will take this cell and this healthy mitochondria, and then the nucleus of the healthy mother is fused into the cell of the healthy donor, okay, which has the healthy mitochondria and healthy cell. Okay, that's how the baby has 3 DNAs, and that's why it is called 3 parent baby. Okay, then we have embryo transfer technology. So this might be asked, maybe if you get lucky, maybe this will ask this time. So embryo transfer technology, and also Rashtriya Gokul Mission. Okay, so embryo transfer technology has been launched by Department of Animal Husbandry to increase the livestock productivity. Okay, so the technique of assisted reproduction, it is assisted reproduction technique. Okay, assisted reproduction technique in which zygote or embryo is collected from a donor animal with higher genetic merit. Okay, some cow which whose genetic material is superior, we will use that. Okay, so embryo of her is taken, and it is transferred to a recipient animal. Okay, and then this recipient animal acts as the surrogate for the rest of the pregnancy. Okay, and the government has launched a mass embryo transfer program in indigenous breed. Okay, so with embryo transfer, and especially remember Rashtriya Gokul mission, so it is for the indigenous breeds. Okay, so in order to encourage and improve the productivity of the indigenous breeds under the scheme National Mission on Bovine Productivity. It is the objective of the program is conservation and development of indigenous breed under the National Rashtriya Gokul mission. Okay, so this is the process, how it is achieved, how it is done. So this cow has high genetic merit, so it is artificially inseminated with the sperm from this bull. Okay, so it has been fertilized, her egg has been fertilized, now it becomes zygote. So after some days these embryos are split into several small embryos. Okay, and each one of these will form a calf, and then after this it is introduced into the cow. Okay, embryos are placed in the uterus of the foster mother, then this act as the surrogate mother. Okay, that's how ETT, embryo transfer technology, is done, right? Then Gokul Gram. So these are the Gokul Gram is the center for development of indigenous breeds and a dependable source for supply of high genetic breeding stock. Okay, so Gokul Gram will be self-sufficient. Okay, and it will generate economic resources like the sale of A2. So remember, indigenous cows means A2 milk. Then organic manure, vermicomposting, urine distillates for Gaumutra, and production of electricity from biogas, right? So this lecture has become very lengthy. I'll stop with this, and the follow-up lecture will be coming soon. Okay, so like this channel. Okay, like these videos, and give good response for the videos, right? So yeah, revise this before the prelims also. Okay, thank you. I will come up with the another lecture soon. Okay.